r/AskReddit. What's the best way you've seen someone rebel against school rules? This was probably around 2001 to 2002 or so. I ran an illicit unfiltered internet access cartel out of my school library. So my school had what was then considered high-speed internet. It was like 3 or 4 MB. But it was fast for the time. The cost, however, was that it was highly filtered and most sites that weren't directly school related were blocked. So, in our driver's ed class we had a driving lab before they let you drive a real car with the insurance and the hitting things and whatnot. You had to demonstrate proficiency on what was basically the world's most boring video game. They had a wheel and pedals and whatnot set up. And you get missions, where you had to drive around a fictional town obeying all traffic laws. So, one day I had finished my mission, and was sitting and waiting for the lab to end, when I noticed a sticker on my monitor. It had what looked like a username/password combo, sitting at the login screen of a computer board. I tried it for poops and giggles, and it actually worked. I don't remember the password, but I do remember the username was sitalab7. So anyway, after poking around a bit, I realized that this account didn't have any internet filtering on it, and had local admin rights on the computer. Duck yeah. Score. I used it for a while, to do random shitsu online, Airbombs World, Newgrounds, that kind of stuff. Well, one day a friend was bitching about the filter. So I logged him in, and let him go ham. It then occurred to me, that this was a service people could use. People always wanted to hop on Yahoo Chat or hit Newgrounds, or whatever. So I started selling internet access for $1/5 minimums. I only had 3 rules. 1. No porn. 2. Keep another window open on schoolwork and switch over if somebody's coming. 3. Keep your ducking mouth shut. If you get caught, you're on your own. When somebody would buy my service, I'd go to their computer, do some hacker-looking shitsu, then log in using the username and password I had found. Well, word got around, and I became the library's internet dealer. I was rolling in snack bar money. Eventually, a couple friends wanted in on it, and since I couldn't be in the library all the time, I gave them the info in exchange for 10-20% of their take. We had basically around the school clock rotation of unfiltered internet dealers. I have no idea how we kept it a secret for so long. But eventually, the hammer came down, somebody got busted looking at porn, and squealed like a stuck pig. One by one my cappers fell until my name came up, and I was summoned to the vice principal's office. I walked in, and the VP, without another word, just looked at me and said City. Lab 7. I knew it was over, but I didn't realize how bad it was. Turns out, that account wasn't just a local admin account, but by some confluence of idiot administration and bad security, was actually a full domain admin account. But it gets better, the school didn't have its own domain. It was on the city's domain, so that account with admin level access to property tax records, city finances, employee payroll, and God only knows what else was being used by every dumbass kid that wanted to watch flash videos of stick figures getting run over by cars, or talk about how great the band Oasis was. They threatened me with expulsion, and threatened to call the cops and report me for hacking the city's network. The school's administrator stepped in, negotiated with the VP, and offered me a deal. If I'd show them how I got in, and help them plug the hole, I'd get by with a 2-week suspension and a computer ban for the rest of the year. Naturally, I jumped on it. I took her to the driver's ed lab and showed her the sticker still stuck to the monitor. She cursed, then took me back to the VP's office. Because I didn't actually hack anything, had no malicious intent beyond snack bar money, hadn't damaged anything, had cooperated with the investigation, and because the method I gained entry was so ducking stupid, they commuted my sentence to 3 days in-school suspension and a 2-week computer ban. They changed the password and my empire came tumbling down. And that's the story of my rise and fall as the head of a school-wide internet cartel. Kid pissed in the trash can when the substitute wouldn't let him leave to use a restroom. Late 80s. My high school banned tank tops, but they were allowed with something over them. They also banned mesh or sheer shirts, only allowed with something under them. Guy I knew pretty much every day. Wore a tank top with a mesh shirt over it. We had a French teacher who was really bad and most people barely tolerated. It happened a few times that whoever arrived first would stand outside her door, as if waiting for her to show up and unlock it. And the rest of the class would just queue up behind them pretending to believe them. Meanwhile the teacher would just be sitting inside wondering where her class was. Edit. To all the people asking if we went to the same school. Pretty sure we didn't. It was not in the us. Funny to hear this happened in other places too. I went to a Catholic grade school growing up that had a strict boys hair length policy. It couldn't touch the collar of your shirt and I wanted long hair. So the principal came in one day to talk to the class. When she was leaving the room she called me out for my long hair in front of my classmates. My response was to point to the cross hanging above the door and said Jesus had long hair. She didn't know what to say right away and seemed embarrassed, but then pulled me outside and yelled at me to get it cut. Don't mess with Catholic nuns. You can almost call it a Hail Mary tactic. More of a male hairy tactic. Really? Edit. Goodness. Thank you for the gold. Kind stranger. Just after the Virginia Tech shooting, when I was in high school, the administration banned backpacks / messenger bags. Purses were okay though. One guy shows up to school with a purse. They suspended him for 2 days. The next day, most of the guys showed up with purses carrying all of their things. They lifted the backpack ban. Edit. Looks like it wasn't just my school either. Back in the 1980s there was one kid in my school, was hardcore into the punk scene. Had a bright blue, 6 high, razor thin, stand up straight mohawk. The principal gave him detention for being a distraction, etc. And his parting words that day were and tomorrow, no more blue mohawk. The next day the kid came in with the same mohawk, only bright pink. Senior year, my school banned jackets. A friend was cold, wore his jacket to lunch, and the VP told him to take it off. Friend pulls out the student handbook and asked where it said he couldn't wear it. VP flips for a while and ends up showing him the or anything the administration seems disruptive clause. Friend rolls his eyes but takes off his coat. The next day, friend comes in with the same tweed sport coat the VP wore every day. Who the heck bans jackets? Not me but my friend's dad. So a good 50 years ago, his teacher told him his tie was the most important part of the uniform and he had to wear it no matter what. That lunchtime he gathered half his school year and the next day, about 100 people turned up wearing nothing but underwear and a tie. A guy I know ran a campaign to lift my old high school's strict policy on facial hair, which is to have none unless religiously exempt, which they gave you a card for that and probably others called the beard badge. He refused to shave and had a banner and shirts made that said with a great beard comes great responsibility. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and consider subscribing for more daily AskReddit content.